Hello and welcome to Who Watches Who, a Doctor Who podcast, as we are back now for the year. It's beginning. I am, of course, your host, Matthew, and I am joined, as always, with...
Hello, it's Scott, and we have nothing major to talk about this month, but yet there's still a
Welcome
major
back.
topic.
There's no news.
Yeah, it's been a dry month, apart from these rumours.
It has been a dry... Well, you say rumors. I feel like it's basically confirmed.
Yeah.
With our main story. Which, of course, we would be stupid if we weren't going to talk about it. Is Millie Gibson leaving Doctor Who already? I say already. She has already filmed a whole series and a bit. But there's a lot of rumors about Millie leaving, which is very sad. And we're going to start by reading an article from the Mirror. So this year's already off to a terrible start. So this is from the Mirror. Doctor Who companion Millie Gibson is being dropped from the BBC sci-fi show and will be replaced for Ncuti Gatwa's second series by actress Verada Sithu. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. The decision by showrunner Russell T Davies to write out the former Coronation Street star who plays Orphan Ruby Sunday was made last year after filming on her first run ended. The shock twist will come as a surprise to fans who only watched her on-screen debut in the festive episode last month. Now Millie, 19, which is insane, will not appear in the 2024 Christmas special later this year and will make only a handful of appearances across Ncuti's second series as the Doctor during 2025. The 8 episodes she has already filmed will air from May, the BBC has announced. After that, it will not be Millie flanking him on his time travels in the TARDIS, but new companion Verada, who has already started filming at the studios in Cardiff. And we know this to be true from some set photos that came out recently off the Doctor and his new companion running about. The actress, who's 32, has already enjoyed several... Again, I don't understand the point whenever these news articles tell us their age. What added context does that give me to the story? Has already enjoyed several swashbuckling roles in TV adventure series. She is best known for her roles as Cinta? Cinta.
It's been a while since
Andor.
I watched Andor.
I watched Andor. I don't really remember her character. And has also appeared in 3
Go on.
You got another? Okay.
I was going to say something.
You just went, like you were about to say something. I stopped talking. I was waiting for you to fill in your fucking gap. And has also appeared in 3 series of Sky's action drama Strike Back, based on the books by Chris Ryan. I never heard of that at all. In 2016, she had also a role in the second series of smash hit Dr. Foster, while her films include Jurassic World Dominion and heist movie Now You See Me 2, famously a terribly named movie, should have been called Now You Don't. One BBC source said Verada is a real gem. Russell was blown away by her talent. The cast and crew have really warmed to her, and he's sure the fans will too. Following Russell's decision to write her character out, teen actress Millie filmed for 3 months before Christmas. She is now almost finished on the show and will only be back to tie up loose ends in the coming weeks, according to insiders. Millie Gibson has all but left now, and there's a brand new companion, which is really exciting, one said. Russell is keeping things moving and isn't letting the grass grow, that's for sure. In next year's series, her character is expected to appear in just 3 of the 8 episodes, and one of them a standalone story wrapping up Ruby Sunday's journey with the Doctor. Done reading the article. That was a fucking mouthful. Basically, Millie is going to be leaving sooner than I think anybody was expecting, but it's not like a shockingly short time.
Oh no, definitely
on the
not.
Show.
So, from the sounds of it, she's had, the Christmas special we just had, which is 1 episode, plus the 8 episodes of this season, that's 9, plus 3 episodes next season, that's 12. Wow, look at me doing quick maths. 12 episodes. That's pretty standard for a 1-season companion like Bill or Donna or Martha. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
What I'm not fine with is, the Mirror doing the whole Doctor Who companion Millie Gibson is being dropped.
The speculation, the speculation in the days before that set photo with Shooty and the new companion came out, it was just terrible.
Yeah.
Where it was just people like speculating the worst possible outcome had happened on set, rather than just like her character's story was finished and they decided to like leave the character where she was. You know, like they are a whole season ahead. She's had a whole arc. They've discovered who her mother is, and like they've done all that. So what else is there with the character? If there's nothing else you want to explore, okay, their story's done. You know,
I mean,
that's impossible. No, she was unprofessional. That's really what happened.
I mean, we did hear of a news story last June, and we didn't cover it in this podcast because we don't really cover behind the scenes tabloid gossip on this show. This is more important to the show itself rather than...
We only cover releases of books no one will read.
And boy, there's going to be some... There's going to be some books at the end of this podcast which you're going to be like, how does this exist? What the hell's going on? But yeah, there was...
Why does this exist?
But there was the rumor came out last June from the Mirror that apparently Millie Gibson was a complete diva on set because she found a night shoot really tough to go through, and she became kind of snippy, and who the fuck cares? We all have bad days on set. Well, at work, I mean. We're not all on sets, but like who the fuck cares?
I'm always on set. I'm always in character.
You know, for an 18-year-old who's only really done Coronation Street and a CBBC show called Jamie Johnson, like she doesn't really, probably hasn't done night shoots before, so I think she's right to, you know, not be totally into it, you know.
Yeah, I have done a couple night shoots. It definitely wasn't for as long as what Millie was having to do them for. But night shoots do start to mess with your head because your sleep schedule gets fucked up completely, and then you know, and you're on set, and I don't think people really appreciate, like, when you are on set, you are sitting around for fucking ages doing nothing. Like, unless you're a part of the crew that is like having to set everything up, if you are acting and things like that, you can maybe run your lines and go over some stuff and chat with the director, but most of the time you are waiting for them to set up. And so you get bored as fuck. And if you get bored as fuck, and then you get really tired because the sun's gone, and then you're in makeup chair for hours, and you're running over lines again. And like, it's easy to be like, you know, a little bit snippy. And especially if you're a teenager, I can't fucking imagine, like, who I was at 18 having to do the shit that Millie's having to do now, like when she's like she's like 90 now, you know, like I couldn't fucking I wouldn't be able to deal with that shit at all, you know. Like,
I mean, you know, like, this isn't the first Doctor Who actor who's had trouble with night shoots. Like, Billie Piper famously had troubles with night shoots. Even David Tennant recently had some troubles with night shoots. Like, he's filming The Star Beast, and he just can't stay awake. He needs churros to get himself a sugar rush, you know? Like, he just can't... Like, who the fuck cares? I don't think it makes her a diva to not like a night shoot. But... you know, as time goes on, you know, this article was released on Friday night. It is currently Tuesday night, so that's 4 days that have passed, and the BBC still haven't come out with an official announcement. Even though, you know, it's clear that she's moving on from the show, potentially. Like maybe she's gonna have a reduced like a Martha season 4 kind of role where she occasionally pops back in. I don't know, but the more that time moves on and there's no official statement from the BBC, I think there might have been some behind-the-scenes drama that we just don't know yet. That's sort of similar to Christopher Eccleston leaving. It feels like it. I'm not sure what's going on, but, you know, I don't really care too much to speculate because these are real people going through real shit, like... but what I don't like is her...
If they're real people, Scott, how are they on my TV? I don't...
They went through space. Yeah? How could they be real? But yeah, I do think there's...
I hadn't even considered the possibility of another Eccleston situation happening. Which, I mean, like, again, like, we don't want to sit on the speculation territory for too long, but if that was the case, it really adds a lot more precedent to what Eccleston's recent comments about Russell T Davies and shit, you know.
Because if you remember,
like, maybe we need to reevaluate this guy.
Yeah.
You know?
If you remember when Christopher Eccleston left the show, there was a press release saying he was tired, you know, and that caused him not to have jobs for a little while. And now Millie Gibson being axed, you know. Now we're hearing that Millie Gibson is being axed or dropped, and it's kind of the same cycle. You know, maybe she was dropped. Maybe she was difficult. It's not our place to talk about because we do not know this person, you know? Like,
yeah.
But it'll be interesting.
We'll keep an eye on it.
Yeah,
we'll keep an eye on what happens.
As for the new companion, I only know her from Andor, and I don't particularly remember her role too well, so we're going to see. I presume she's going to be good. Yeah. Like, every companion has been a good pick so far.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yes. You know, everybody loved it. I mean, Mandip Gill was good. She did her best. Yeah. But yeah, no, it was the new companion will be fine. It's sad to be saying goodbye to Ruby already. Before we even get to say hello to her properly, it feels it's this weird disconnect where it's like, oh, you're leaving, but you still have a bunch of stuff. So yay! I'm looking forward to seeing because I was really impressed at Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, and also there might be an update by the time this episode releases, and if so, we're sorry for covering the news so early. Hopefully not, you know. And you know, we'll keep up the updates.
If it's anything like massive, I'll do an edit to be like, hey, this massive thing happened, but I doubt in the next 3 days anything massive is gonna happen, he said, cursing himself. Before we move on to the next news topic, I just want to say, if you are enjoying listening to this podcast, why don't you give us a subscribe and a like if you are watching us on YouTube. If you're in the audio realm and you've discovered us, leave a review, hit the follow button, and we'll be there every Friday at 8 a.m. It really helps out the show, and we appreciate it a lot. Anyway, the next news story we've got, season 15 on Blu-ray? What? The BBC has announced that the next season of Doctor Who to be released on Blu-ray will be season 15, which was first broadcast in 1977. That's the year my mum was born. The 7-disc box set stars Tom Baker as the 4th Doctor, alongside Louise Jameson as Leela. This limited edition set contains 6 classic stories, packed with hours of new and exclusive material. It's got any stories I recognize? No.
The Invisible Enemy.
Any of these stories?
The Invisible Enemy is like the most famous one from here for introducing K9, of course. Horror of Fang Rock is like the famous. Everybody loves Horror of Fang Rock. Like, it's one of the classics.
I hate it. I hate that one. That's my least favorite episode ever.
The Sunmakers is just about taxes, and like the episode opens up with a man trying to commit suicide because he just can't keep up with his taxes. It's a fun season from what I remember. It's been a long time since I went back to this season, but yeah, it's not a bad season.
It's a nice cover art for it. It's I like how they're keeping with the silver box thing. That's nice. I'm glad they haven't given that up. These stories include character of trusty robot dog K9 voice. We don't need to read any of this. We've covered that. There's a bunch of stuff coming in these Blu-rays. Updated special effects behind the sofa with various members of the cast, including Louise Jameson and Colin Baker. There's a Blu-ray trailer, a brand new scripted trailer to announce the season 15 box set of Doctor Who. Darkness and Light, a look at the life and career of producer Graham Williams. In Conversation, interviewer Matthew Sweet chats to Louise Jameson. Inside the Lighthouse, Making Horror of Fang Rock. Tom Talks. Tom Baker muses on life, the universe, and everything. That sounds interesting. Audio commentaries. Exclusive new audio commentaries from Tom Baker. And a 5.1 surround sound mix of Horror of Fang Rock. As well as rare convention footage, Tom Baker Blackpool exhibit links, rare archive treats, HD photo galleries, info text, PDF archive, and lots more. As always, these Blu-rays are just fucking full of shit. Full of stuff. They're
Full of
really
good
worth
shit.
the money. Yeah, they're really worth the money. But yeah, of course, the big thing about this Blu-ray series announcement thing coming out is they made like a Doctor Who short film for the Time War,
which is really cool.
with Leela. Yeah.
As you remember,
I thought it was really good until the end.
Yeah, of course. As you remember from your extensive Classic Who knowledge, of course, Leela was left on Gallifrey, and this entire time, since the Time War, we've been asking, where the hell is Leela? Turns out she escaped.
I've asked that every day. I ask that every day, every single day. I'm like, where is Leela?
Yeah, when Leela's not on screen, you just keep asking, where's Leela? But yeah, this little short film is pretty cool, and it ends with her getting like a teleportation device, and she winds up in the TARDIS with Mr. Tom Baker himself. Maybe it's a season.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one of those split regeneration things where this is the fourth Doctor who's split. God knows.
Just don't even fucking think about it. Just don't think about it. It's just like, okay, cool, and then move on. Just move on. Don't worry about when that works.
It does make Doctor Who canon this much more complicated. Like, oh god.
Yeah, even worse than it was before. But no, it's cool. I probably won't be buying this because I don't own any of the Blu-ray box sets. But I'm sure somebody out there will buy them.
Yeah, I'll buy
Looking
it.
at you, Scott.
I've got like most of them apart from the first 5. I really need to try and hunt down the first 5. However, it's limited edition, so they've sold out. So it's really hard to find them. But there's these re-releases that aren't the same sized boxes. So that's awkward.
That's annoying.
It
That's
is
really
annoying,
yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah.
That's life, I guess.
Our next story, the Sea Devils have a spin-off. This is from the Radio Times. As we enter a new area of Doctor Who, we know that some spin-offs are on the way, and a new report on production list suggests that one of them will begin production very soon. An entry on the website suggests that a spin-off titled The War Between the Land and the Sea will start shooting on the 4th of March, 2024. The series is specifically listed as a Doctor Who spin-off, and the entry states it will feature the Sea Devils. The iconic monsters first appeared in the show in 1972, John Pertwee's story, The Sea Devils, and more recently they returned in the classic 2022 episode, Legend of the Sea Devils, which we have covered. We've covered both of these stories on the podcast, both The Sea Devils and Legend of the Sea Devils, and they both suck, so I really recommend going out and listening to those episodes. They are terrible.
If his rumor is true, it seems like it's true. We're probably going to have to cover the other appearance of the Sea Devils, where they team up with the Silurians, and it's awful.
Yeah, I don't understand this sudden interest that Doctor Who has had with the Sea Devils. Where like since they came back, they're like, fuck yeah, Sea Devils are awesome actually, and it's like, no, they're not. they are much worse versions of the Silurians, and every episode they've been in has sucked.
Yeah,
massively.
It's always the same story as well. It's fantastic. It's a good it's a good villain to mine material from. He just never ending.
They're really complex. Yeah, they're really complex and interesting villains. Apparently they're going to start filming in Cardiff, Wales. Big surprise. With all of the regular producers and showrunners you'd expect working on it. The BBC declined to comment on this show spin-off possibility. If this is the first spin-off, I'm going to be kind of disappointed.
Yes.
Unless somehow this is the Paul McGann Doctor story.
Ooh.
And Paul McGann's Doctor is the one fucking about with Sea Devils for no reason.
But it's still really shit.
Yeah. yeah, it's still really bad. It's like the worst thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, I recently watched Aquaman 2. There's some stuff similar to Aquaman 2 you could do with the Sea Devils. The whole you can't trust the Sea Devils can't trust the people on the land because they keep polluting their oceans. That was like the best part of Aquaman 2 that goes absolutely nowhere. I kind of trust Russell T Davies to do good political commentary with the pollution of the sea and all that. So it hopefully maybe.
Didn't we already get that with Paraxis? Wasn't that the name of that episode? Didn't that cover that when the monsters were like, "This is because you pollute too much"?
No, you're thinking of Orphan
Jodie
55.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so we have covered it though.
Yeah, God, both terrible episodes. We haven't covered either of those episodes, and maybe we should. Maybe.
Don't want to. I don't want to. They suck. They're really bad.
But yeah, not everybody is as excited as we are about this spin-off. You want to read the next part?
I don't want to have to open this link, but I guess. No, hang on. You are not getting any of my cookies, Daily Mail. Fuck right off.
What kind of cookies? They could probably have some of your raisin cookies,
Oh, all off. I am turning all of the purpose and features. I'm not consenting. All the vendors, I'm not consenting. God, they really try to fucking trick you with this. Hang on. So you've got like your all off and your all on button, and then you have to click onto vendors, which is a separate window, and click all off on that as well to get so that they don't get your cookies. And then you have to click save and exit, which is a white button at the bottom next to a bright green button that says allow all. Instinctively, I was about to press allow all and be fucked. You slimy bastards.
Oh, the Daily
Not
Mail
any of
is
my
like
data.
the Daily Mail is pretty decent, I think. I read the Daily Mail.
They want to send me notifications. Fuck off. This is such a bad website. Right. BBC and Doctor Who production company savaged by locals in seaside resort after shutting it down to film, then trying to gag local families from talking about it. What? The production company was savaged by locals. Seaside traders in a popular town have been left angered as their... Oh, that's a big word. Esplanade? I don't know how to pronounce that. Esplanade.
But yeah,
you know how to pronounce that word?
I don't know, but people have been linking this story.
I'm gonna find out. No, I'm gonna find out.
They've been thinking about maybe this is the Sea Devils spin-off that's being recorded. God knows.
Hang on. Esplanade. Yeah. I don't know. How did they savage it? I don't really want to. To facilitate the road closure in place. In addition to the road closure, we'd like to suspend bay. Yeah, so they're shooting at the seaside. Mm-hmm. Do you think they would be shooting the Sea Devils thing already, though? Didn't they say
I don't know.
I don't know,
but people have been pointing to this article saying maybe it's connected. What other seaside thing would the producers of Doctor Who be involved in?
I mean,
I know, yeah, like BBC
like,
and Bad
at
Wolf,
the beach.
It could just be at the beach, maybe, but this guy, Brian Brayford, is not happy about it. If you scroll down, he has his arms crossed, and he just looks so grumpy,
Yeah. He's got his compo face on.
But
the letter said, to facilitate the filming, we will have a full road closure in place. This will enable us to film in the exterior. In addition to the road closure, we'd suspend the bays. These parking bays will be used to park. Okay, the letter which reportedly... This is like such like not a news story. This is... They've come in to film at a pier and closed the pier because it's a fucking production, and people were like, I can't go to the beach anymore. Oh, what the fuck is this about? Like, I hate the Daily Mail now. They're fucking garbage.
Well, you know what? This news story on the right seems more interesting. Nadine Dorris wants to ban prayer mats in school. What a cool lady. I agree with every view from the Daily Mail. Awful. Awful. But yeah, it would be funny for all this fuss to be over a Sea Devils spin-off.
I bet no, but it's not even gonna be a Sea Devil spin-off. It's gonna be a shot in one scene of one random fucking episode. It's gonna be so inconsequential, because I guarantee they're just making a huge fuss about something that was so minor.
But yeah,
moving on to the next subject.
But, you know,
John Boyega.
what do you think the Sea Devil spin-off would be? Like, would it be a 15-minute special?
I think it
or
would be bad.
Is it
No,
going
I
to
think
be
it'll
like
be
a
a 20-minute show
7-part
for
series?
A 20-minute show for kids.
Maybe we're doing a sequel to David Tennant's bedtime stories, last year.
Yeah.
Maybe with Sea Devils will be reading his bedtime story. Terrifying.
I really don't know. I like that. Like, I don't know what you do bringing the Sea Devils back.
I know, especially without the Doctor. Like,
there's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't one of our most iconic villains. This is the Sea Devils. It's not the Sontarans, Daleks, Cyberman, the Master.
We will be eating our words when the show comes out, and it's even better.
I'm excited to see it.
Doctor Who.
We'll cover it when it comes out, and
will it be as horny as Torchwood, or will it be more horny?
Will it be as horny as K9, the Australian TV show?
Yeah. So if the Sea Devil show is real, I have got the biggest hesitation on if that's a good idea.
Especially with our history of the Sea Devils.
Yeah, but I guess we'll see. And C spelt with an A. I guess we will see.
Clever.
And our next story, John Boyega would love a Doctor Who cameo as another Doctor. The Star Wars alumni wants to swap the Millennium Falcon for the TARDIS in a one-off episode. This is from the Radio Times. We've seen the likes of John Hurt, Joe Martin, and David Bradley pop up as versions of the Doctor in the BBC sci-fi franchise. But now John Boyega is hoping to be the next short-term iteration of the Time Lord in a future episode of Doctor Who. Speaking to this week's issue of Radio Times magazine, the Star Wars actor said that he would love a cameo in the long-running BBC show as a one-off role. When he asked about whether diversity and representation is improving in the film and TV industry, the 31-year-old, again, the fuck do I care how old this man is? It is opening up. You get inspired by things like Ncuti Gatwa playing the Doctor in Doctor Who. That is special to me. The glass ceiling can't limit us. It's exciting to see what comes out of this new stage of filmmaking and entertainment. As for whether he take a role in Doctor Who, he added, I would love that, but get me in an episode where I'm one of the many Doctors in many timelines so I can just cameo it. That'd be cool. I feel like we've covered this before. I feel like this is
I just realized that.
Yeah, 21st of March, 2023. We covered this a year ago. What the fuck?
Yeah, so I get most of these news sources off like Twitter and stuff, and people were acting like this was brand new information, and I guess I didn't read the date. But
we read I read this article on this show. I read this.
But
before.
Let's talk about it again. There's nothing else to talk about. We are low on the list of things to talk about. John Boyega is a cameo Doctor. No, thank you. I'm kind of done with these one and done Doctors, to be honest with you.
I don't give a shit if he was never the Doctor. I would be like, oh no, or I would be like, I don't care. And if he was cast as the Doctor, I'd be like, nice, that's cool, good for him, I'm glad, because I think he would be able to do the role completely fine. Yeah. I think he would be a solid casting choice. I think he is a really good actor. I think he'd be great. It wouldn't super excite me, but I'd be like, awesome, good for him. I'm happy. That's cool. I'm sure he'll be great.
I'm down for him being in a good, franchise that doesn't underuse him, because boy, that's the Star Wars sequels. Sorry. Yikes.
Yeah, he was really underused in the prequels for sure. He got like no screen time.
Have you seen the new movie that he did? They cloned Brian.
They cloned Tyrone.
Yeah,
they cloned Tyrone.
That was close.
It's on my list. It's on my list. I haven't seen it yet.
I hope
it looks pretty fun.
John Boyega is a good actor, and he needs more work. I like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move back from the past and into the present day. We had a weird flashback to an old episode of the news there. As we go to the next story, which is definitely from this month in the year 2024, not March 2023. Who is Susan Twist's character in Doctor Who? Here are all the theories. My question is, who is Susan Twist?
Yeah, she was Isaac Newton's friend in whatever the episode was called, and she appeared for like one scene.
What?
You remember when she's like,
what?
"Hello, Isaac Newton.
Yeah.
I thought you were white," and then Isaac Newton's like, "No."
I'm looking at an image of her in the episode Wild Blue Yonder, and I straight up don't remember her being in it. And why are people speculating? Is she like a big actor? Like, are you sure it's not just like a cameo role?
She was in the Wild Blue Yonder as this character. I'm about to send an image of her on.
Yeah,
Discord.
I'm looking at an image of her right now.
But she was also in the Next Time trailer.
That's the
as
same
a different
image I'm
character.
looking at. Was she really?
Yes, it's the main image on the Radio Times. This is from the Next Time trailer when it's the same actress playing a different, maybe the same character. Who knows? It's probably a different character because Doctor Who reuses actors all the fucking time. Why is this a news story? And there's nothing else to talk about, so we're sorry for covering this news story.
Especially an actor who played a role that I didn't even fucking like realize she was in. So she could be a recurring character, possibly, that has something to do with Ruby's birth, or maybe she's Meep's boss. See, I think Meep's boss is Ruby's mother. I think that's the twist that they're doing, is the one who waits or whatever the fuck. The big, like, arch-evil builder, the one who waits, I think that's going to be Ruby's mum.
That leads back to, like, my one big issue with these last 4 episodes. There's too many hints at future storylines for my liking. Is Mrs. Flood connected to the one who waits? Who the fuck knows? I don't really care, you know.
I mean, that's how Russell writes Doctor Who.
Yes, I know.
Like, you go back and you watch like series 1, and it's like every episode is bad wolf. There's a bad wolf coming, a big bad wolf. You know, like he doesn't do.
But at least
subtle.
At least with Bad Wolf, it was the same hint every time. It wasn't like, there's a space. I don't know how you could ever. Well, he's been setting up like 4 different things at this point, and are they connected? Who knows? Like Mrs. Flood, the one who waits, the Master's tooth. The Toymaker's tooth, which is the Master, who got picked up by a lady with red nails. Like, was that needed? No.
That lady with red nails is
Margaret
the one
Thatcher.
Who waits. Who was Margaret Thatcher all along? I don't know. There's a lot going on. I hope that by the time series 1 ends, which still feels wrong to say, that by the time series 1 ends, we will have we'll be able to look back on this and be like, oh, thank God that had a payoff.
Yeah, hopefully.
You know, rather than, what the fuck was this about? Why did she look into the camera? Russell, did you forget?
like I know Mrs. Flood is supposed to be a slow burn, but I hope most of the threads that we've started clinging on to get resolved by the end of series 1, and keep Mrs. Flood thread. That's fine. I don't care, because it's supposed to be a slow burn, and she's been seen on set for season 2. Great. I'm fine. I don't care too much about speculation, which is like the worst thing to say on a Doctor Who podcast, but we'll cover the new episodes as they come out, because you know. But I don't really care. You know,
I am optimistic to see what twists Russell has got involved for us, if he's got any, which I'm sure of course he will.
It's the Master again. It's always every single thread that we've picked up so far is the Master again. Mrs. Flood, who picked up the tooth? The Master picked up the tooth.
The Master, he time traveled back to pick up his own tooth. I am looking forward to it. I am very happy with how the 60th anniversary, like, thinking back on it now. Sorry, I have a hair in my mouth. Thinking back on it now, after however many weeks it's been since the 60th aired, I think I enjoyed it. I don't think I loved it. I definitely rank it way lower than the 50th, but it's a different beast. And
it's a star beast.
I am enjoying Russell's return, but I don't think I'm blown away by it yet. And it could just be that my expectations were so high because I was feeling so low from the Chibnall era that I was like, please God, give me something else. And now that I've got that something else, I'm like, it's kind of like fine though. It's like, it's okay. But,
what we've had so far from Russell's return is kind of just, it's not middle of the road Doctor Who, it's just good Doctor Who, you know, which we haven't had for a long time. You know, these episodes are like 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 instead of the 10 out of 10 we expected. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I don't really care too much as long as I still enjoy it. And, you know, we can still go back to the great episodes we've loved before. It doesn't really matter if Doctor Who is shit from now on. I don't really care, but I hope it's good from now on.
Doctor Who's always been shit.
True. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the future of Doctor Who for sure, and hopefully some of the kinks get ironed out, because that's one of the dangers of writing so far ahead, you know. Like, what if the audience doesn't respond well to this particular storyline? Oh shit, I just wrote 3 seasons worth featuring this storyline. Shit. You know? Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens, I guess. And we'll see how long Russell stays in the job. That's another thing I'm curious about. If he will be in it for the long haul, or if he's just going to, like, set up and build the foundation of the universe again
40
and then
years.
be on his merry way.
40 years is my prediction.
40 years. He's going to be in it till he's like in
100.
his 80s, 90s. 100. Yeah. How old? Yeah, he's really old. He's like his 50s, isn't he? His 60s.
Yeah, he's the same age as Doctor Who. So
that's insane. Yeah, Jesus. It looks good for his age. In our other news story, as we get close to wrapping up this show in the next few minutes, in the next like 10, 15 minutes, I bet, we have got Fugitive Dr. Doll. Doctor Who, the Fugitive Doctor collectible figure revealed, comes with a TARDIS and a Division Blaster. A new Doctor Who collectible figure has been revealed, which is basically... It's just the Fugitive Doctor action figure with the TARDIS. I mean, the toy looks fine. It's a fine. I've seen much worse looking action figures. Yeah. They've captured Joe Martin's likeness pretty well. Sometimes action figures, you look at it and you're like, I don't even know who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, this looks fine. It's from a character who's had the license for 1,000,000 years. Like when we were kids, you know, since like 2005, I believe. So they've really had the license for ages. And, you know, this went up on the website yesterday, and the website kept on crashing because Doctor Who fans really love their toys for some reason. You know,
every fandom loves their toys.
Like I saw on Twitter, somebody sitting around for like 5 hours trying to get this toy, kept on refreshing the page, and it's like, that is some commitment, you know. To get
that is some commitment to get a toy. But hey, if it makes you happy, go for it. You know, I personally don't give a shit about having a 5-inch plastic figure of a Doctor. I don't really care about.
Yeah, but it's a 5-inch plastic figure of Joe Martin, the best Doctor. You know.
True. Like I tell you, right, like the figure in that is like fine. I fucking love the little box it's got. The box it's got is a wonderful design, where it's got that like flat triangle bit so you can see through 2 windows at once. That's cool as fuck.
Then keep the fucking box, you know. I'll buy
That's
it for
the
you
bar
for your
I want.
birthday.
I want to play with I want to play with the box. I don't care about the toy. I want the box.
But it is cool that Joe Martin finally has some representation in merchandise. Like, she was only the Doctor for like probably like
an episode and a bit.
oh, not even an episode and a bit. Like her introductory episode is her being the Doctor for the last 20 minutes. Like probably she only probably has like half an hour of screen time as the Doctor. Like that's shocking.
Yeah.
They totally underused her, which is a shame. But you know, she did an unboxing of her own toy and she really liked it. So it's cool that she's happy about it. Like she deserves.
That is cool.
When the fuck is that Big Finish box set coming out? Do you know? They announced that thing 2 years ago.
Yeah, but they announced it 2 years ago, so it'll be out in about 6 years' time because they have this big backlog, you know.
Oh god, but yeah, everybody's waiting for that fucking spin-off, which is weird. Also, the Master spin-off. When is that coming out? Who the fuck knows? I kind of want to listen to it, but you know, Big Finish produce a lot of stuff, so I probably won't listen to it.
They do produce a lot of stuff. Now let us move on to our last segment for the show. What is coming out next month in the month of February? First off, this is all the books we were talking about that no one's going to buy. We have got Unit, the Vaughn Identity. 2024 will see the launch of Candy Jar's Unit range with a series of original novels. This new series of books now squarely focuses on Unit and explores the fallout from the invasion, both on a personal and a national level, and how the story would have been spun by the government and the press. As the title suggests, the first book, The Vaughn Identity, looks into the background of Tobias Vaughn, picks up where the TV story The Invasion left off, and it is written by the range editor Tim Gramble, who said, "There's a lot left open at the end of The Invasion. Tobias Vaughn's story and the whole international electromatic setup, it's very layered and detailed. We see repeatedly in Doctor Who that once the main threat is dealt with, the Doctor is quick to leave. As a character, he was in a class of his own, due very much to Kevin Stoney's bravura performance, but also because of Derek Sherwin's script and Douglas Camfield's direction. We know Vaughn was killed at the end of The Invasion and left hanging over the railings. I wanted to find a way to get more from the character without pretending that he hadn't really died on screen, which would have felt like a cop-out. I also wanted to work purely within the situations and concepts that Derek Sherwin had created to give my story that sense that it was finishing off of tidying up any strands left hanging loose after the TV story concluded. But as well as looking back to the invasion, the Vaughn Identity also looks forward to the series of books that will follow." Tim continued, "We've got a wider cast of Unit regulars to take our books forward. Readers have already been introduced to many of them in the 2 Unit file short story collections, Operation Wildcat and Operation Fallout. But the Vaughn Identity allows us to see how they were impacted by the events of the invasion, making it more of a shared experience. As the first novel of the range, it's important to introduce and involve new regular characters in the action and the storyline, and not simply as an info dump roll call. There are a few minor nods to the Lethbridge Stewart range, but nothing that would faze new readers. We want this to be a jumping on point, a fresh start, while also quietly acknowledging the achievement of the previous range." This is insane. What's the audience for this? Who's reading these? I mean, it's cool that they're getting made, and I'm glad this Tim guy seems really passionate about the world and the story, but like who's reading this? It's interesting.
Yeah, this is one of those unique situations where, because of the contracts that are done during classic Doctor Who, people just own these characters who appeared in the show, and obviously the right was sold to Candy Jar, which is like a book publisher that's never been talked about. You know, like, this is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, of course, they could only do stories set around Unit and the Brigadier, so which is useful because this story is all about how the events of the invasion will be perceived by the public. The invasion is a Cyberman story, which is really solid. We should do that someday. But yeah, the whole concept of, you know, the spin that the government puts around it, where you don't have to mention the Cybermen, you don't have to have any Cybermen involvement because that would be copyright infringement. You can just pretend that nobody's talking about the Cybermen because it's all a spin by the government. Genius idea.
Yeah.
But yeah,
yeah.
This is kind of interesting. Not the only Brigadier book coming out this month, but this is a good cover. I like the cover.
Yeah, it's the cover's really interesting. I think some of the people have some slightly strange faces in the background, but it's like a classic spy sort of poster. It looks less like a book cover and more like a movie poster. It's kind of a vibe. But yeah, speaking of Lethbridge Stewart, he has got another book, Lethbridge Stewart, United Nations, by Jonathan Bloom, or Blum, I don't know. It was impossible that the public could ever have missed seeing the giant alien spaceship, but somehow everyone did. The US and the USSR both want to know how the UK covered the incident up. Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart would quite like to know who actually did cover it up. Old allies from both sides of the Iron Curtain are chasing the answer, but each with their own agenda. Everyone wants the power to make inconvenient secrets disappear. The search leads Lethbridge Stewart to the single most normal man on the Isle of Man, and what happens to the world around him when he dies. Lethbridge Stewart faces death by coincidence as probability gets turned upside down. And as attacks get closer and closer to home, so does the political fallout. His career, his dreams of uniting the world's nations against alien threats, even his family could pay the ultimate price. These books are books 4, 5, and 6 in the Lethbridge Stewart Series 10 6-book bundle. If you have any queries regarding this, please contact customer services at candyjarbooks.co.uk. The last bit was written all in caps.
And in red writing.
Yeah, so this is Series 11, Book 3.
Yep.
Of a series of Lethbridge Stewart novels. That seems like fucking overwhelming to get into. Who is the one person reading this?
God, I don't know.
Who is the one person that owns and reads and follows this story, that read every single series and is fully caught up? I mean, it sounds interesting, but it seems also like really like a really big investment to get into, because Series 11, Book 3, and these are books 4, 5, and 6 in a series of 10 6-book bundles. What the fuck does that even mean?
I have no idea why these books exist, but obviously they do well enough for them to be printed and for the license to be kept with Candy Jar, because 11 series, plus there's a new spin-off. Obviously we just talked about that with Yvonne's story. So it's like, how many books starring the Brigadier have Candy Jar published at this point? There's got to be like 100 at least, where they're kind of vaguely in the Doctor Who universe but can never mention anything Doctor Who related apart from Unit. Kind of insane. When you have Star Trek books, they're allowed to use like almost every character or setting or talk about the Klingons, and with this it's just like, oh yeah, we're kind of connected to Doctor Who but not really. There was a guy I met once who could change faces. Like, that's all they could say. Weird. And also this book cover is shit.
Yeah, it's not great. It's kind of boring looking. But, it's not a story I'm ever going to think about again. It's not one I'm ever going to read again. I'm sure at least one person on Earth will read it. Maybe.
And of course, our Brigadier trend continues, because the next one is a prequel to Inferno. The classic story, if you want to take this one. You have to scroll down a little bit.
This is a link to a Kickstarter page.
But yeah, this is apparently coming out next month, so...
Interesting. Where do I start reading from? Because now I'm just reading a comic book.
God, it's all changed since the last time I was looking at this page, so that's cool. Yeah, basically this is the prequel to a famous story where the Doctor winds up in a different universe. It's slightly the same, but I guess, I don't know. Everyone's evil in this universe. Everyone has an eye patch. Well, only the Brigadier has an eye patch. Okay,
it's like the evil universe in Star Trek. Where everyone is evil.
Inferno, The World Dies Screaming, is the first of a new series of prestige comics from Cutaway Comics, written by Gary Russell with art by the legendary Ron Ridgway. This initial chapter takes us from a dark and twisted 1940s right up to the night before the Doctor arrives. Conveniently. The night before the Doctor arrives at Project Inferno. Inferno was the beginning of the end of a doomed alternative Earth glimpsed as part of the acclaimed 1970s Doctor Who serial by Don Houghton. But what led to that end? Witness a parallel world on the brink of death as the world dies screaming. Cutaway comic jumps into a parallel world of British fascism and dictatorship from the 1940s where Churchill was assassinated. And yeah, so there's a load of shit. I don't think it's even includes characters like the Brigadier. It's just loosely.
It's just like historical figures and stuff.
It doesn't need to be related to Doctor Who in any way. You probably have more success without the Doctor Who connection, to be honest with you. Like, if this was just a normal comic book, people would be likely to pick it up because it does sound decent enough.
I mean, it succeeded at its Kickstarter.
Yeah.
It had a £7,000 goal. It made £14,000, so twice as much as what they were expecting, which is really good. I really dislike the art style. I'm sorry to the artist. I don't think this is a nice looking comic book.
The faces and characters look fine enough. The environments look really weird.
It's the faces I don't like, because the faces are just drawn over prints off photos. You can see in like the Stalin drawing and the General Mao's drawing and the Hitler drawing. Like, these are just photographs that have been colored over.
The art style kind of reminds me of the Marvels. You know the Marvels? It was a limited edition mini series that Marvel printed where every fucking frame was just like a postcard essentially. I'm trying to look up some images.
See, it being called the Marvels is a really bad thing. I found the Wikipedia page, but it's got no photos.
I'm looking for here's a good example of what the art kind of looks like. If I can... Oh my god, I hate Google. Google got really bad.
Yeah, hang on. 1994, I found it on Marvel.com. Have you got a preview? Go away.
But yeah, this is the kind of artwork they do in the Marvels, which is like, it takes place decade by decade and goes over the big events in the Marvel universe from the perspective of like regular everyday people, which is kind of cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think the art style in the Marvels is nicer though. But yeah, I can see the connection.
But yeah, will you be buying Inferno?
Nope, I will not be. I have zero interest in what it was talking about. Absolutely zero interest. But shall we move into our final section here, where we look at Big Finish releases?
Hell
Woo! With our first one being Doctor Who, the 11th Doctor Chronicles, Volume 6, Victory of the Doctor, title short as always at Big Finish. A long time ago, during every second of existence, there was a war. An impossible war between gods and monsters. A war that should have killed them both. Only the gods are dead and the monsters are back, stronger than ever. The monsters are coming for all of creation. The universe's only hope for survival lies in a blue box. The Doctor and Valerie Lockwood, the unstoppable duo, ready to stop the monsters and save the universe once again. Except this time, the price of victory might be too high. This is 4 stories in this box set, with Didn't You Kill My Mother by John Dorney, Daleks Victorious by Felicia Barker, The Last Stand of Miss Valerie Lockwood by Alfie Shaw, and Victory of the Doctor by Alfie Shaw. Which is a Matt Smith with the companion that I've never met, because she's a Big Finish exclusive companion story. I don't really have any interest in this one.
This is one of those runs that are apparently really good. This companion's been on for like the last 3 box sets. This is box set 4 with her. I think this is the end game for these two together, so... I hear really good things about this, but as with every Big Finish story, you know, every Big Finish release. I just don't have the fucking time to listen to them. I'm sorry. I would really want to, but there's too much of it. There's way too much.
It is an overwhelming amount of content at any given time. I don't know how people keep up.
Like, these are 4
No
full
idea.
Doctor Who episodes, 45
Yeah.
minutes a piece, probably over an hour in some cases, I reckon. But, like, how the fuck do people have time to listen to 4 episodes of Doctor Who in like a sitting? People listen to this in like a day somehow, you know?
Some people
Crazy.
are committed. Some people just are bigger fans than you.
But yeah,
do you want to
anyway,
take the
yeah,
next
I'll take
one?
the
It's
next
a
one.
lot to read. It's a lot to read. Good
Give me
luck.
a second, I need some water for this one.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
Torchwood,
Don't
80,
stress yourself.
title, TBA, story details to be announced. I think
That sounds really good. I'm definitely getting this one. I'm definitely getting this
I think
one.
I mispronounced a few names in there. I'm not sure, but it sounds interesting.
I
yeah.
think it's the best sounding Big Finish release we've had in so long. It's the refresh that they've been needing for so long. You know, it's I'm really excited by it personally.
I do wonder why every time we get to these Torchwood stories, we're always the last ones to be announced. You know, it's very strange.
Yeah, I don't know. But the next one we've got is Doctor Who, The Ninth Doctor Adventures, Buried Threats. This is the 3rd box set of
God.
Series 3 of Christopher Eccleston, which is insane that we're already on
when
the
did we
3rd
stop?
series.
When did we stop? We stopped with
Series 2? We covered all Series 1.
yeah, we
and then
stopped
we did one
with
of Series 2.
Into the Stars, the one with the Sontaran story. We stopped with that season.
Yeah.
And there was one of the Sea Devils, and yeah, we've not.
Yeah, it just started. They started getting
2,
really weak.
3,
Yeah.
4, 5. This is our 5th box set that we've just not covered. You know.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Eccleston stuff, it started off strong, but
Yeah.
then it got really samey because they can't do anything interesting with his Doctor because they're so committed to it being before Series 1. So it just got a bit samey in every single one of them. But let's read what this one's about, shall we? Not all perils faced by the Doctor are as obvious as alien invasion. Some threats have been buried for millennia, some for mere centuries, and some hide in a troubled mind. But whenever he finds injustice, danger, or just an irresistible mystery, the Doctor won't stop digging until the truth is uncovered.
I'm sorry,
This
but so far that sounds like every fucking Ninth Doctor box set.
This is 3 stories in this box set: A Theatre of Cruelty by Lisa McMillan, The Running Men by Mark Wright, and Ancient History by Matt Fitton. Is this a box set you're gonna be getting? I can hazard a guess.
Hell no. The only the only episode I'm loosely interested in is one of Bernice Summerfield. She was a 7th Doctor companion who was introduced in the books once the series were cancelled, and this is like Big Finish's baby, basically, because the BBC were reluctant to give them the rights to Doctor Who unless they proved themselves, and they gave the rights to Bernice Summerfield instead. And apparently those early Bernice Summerfield box sets were so good, they got the license to Doctor Who forever and ever. And they've definitely not milked this franchise yet, I would say. Like like, you know, they really take their time with every release. There's not a million releases every single month, you know, like, this is some top quality stuff being clearly thought through.
See, I think that's the double-edged sword though with Big Finish, is because I think the quality of their box sets is there. Like, somehow they are. And, like, from people that listen to them, they're like, oh, yeah, it's really good, blah, 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 blah. Like, they manage that quality level on the most part. It is an overwhelming amount of noise to get through.
I don't know. There's recently been a lot more negative opinions on Big Finish. They recently just came out with the 7th Doctor Last Days box set, which is like 6 half-hour episodes. And it's, you know, 7th Doctor on the title, on the front cover and everything. Sylvester McCoy is in like 1 episode out of 6. and the whole storyline is about him being an evil dictator. He's only in 1 episode, and every other companion that he's ever faced, including the companions he's faced in books, like there's a frog there. There's a frog guy who was apparently his companion for like a story, a Big Finish box set from like 7 years ago. Like, he's here, this frog man is here. And every companion who is like gathered into a room and they all have their memories erased. I don't fucking know. It sounds awful.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where it's like, what is the point of making this? What is the point?
Yeah.
There's too much going on at Big Finish, and they really need to try and quality over quantity, I would say. Like, there's too much.
There is a lot going on at Big Finish for sure. You want to take the next box set that's coming out?
This is of course, a Doomsday tie-in. Hell yeah! This is Master.
Whatever happened
Planet
to Doomsday?
Doom.
Did they conclude that? Did they conclude Doomsday?
They concluded it.
How does it conclude? Did people talk about it?
It concluded in the same way it started, with barely anyone noticing, with like just a little fart, like it's just a little fart in the corner of a room and nobody paid attention to.
Yeah.
So anyway, this box set, the Master and Vienna Salvatore form an unlikely alliance when they're forced into joining an expedition to a forbidden planet. Ooh, that's a good comic book play. What kind of comics do you think they got from here?
They don't sell comics at Forbidden Planet. They only sell junk.
Oh yeah, true.
The comics are hidden away. Yeah, you only get Funko Pops at Forbidden Planet.
Accompanied by elite Marines, government scientists, and a corporate mercenary with access to some very old unit files. They go in search of an ancient subterranean labyrinth infested by an alien life form the Master knows all too well. And this is 3 stories again. So far that's like, every story is like an hour. That's 10 hours of content the Big Finish are releasing so far.
And
mandatory with 11
and every
hours.
box set is 30 quid. Yeah.
So do you think you'll get this one? Axos is in it, the robot man from the Claws of Axos.
I don't think I will be getting this, but this is Eric Roberts back as the Master, which is a lot of fun, as we are huge fans of the Doctor Who, the movie, on this podcast, and seeing Eric Roberts back, I feel like we caused that to happen.
He looks.
But that being said,
he looks really good in this box set cover. Like, that looks amazing.
He does.
I love the hair.
Yeah, it's some good hair he's got, and it's fun for him to be the Master. I guess I've not heard anything about this box set. I'm never going to think about it again, which is going to be the case with all of these box sets.
The only way I would ever buy these Master box sets is somehow Eric Roberts somehow convinced his sister Julia Roberts to join him in a recording session. Imagine Julia Roberts at Big Finish. That'd be insane.
Would it? Is she in anything big anymore? When was the last Julia Roberts movie? Oh, just recently, Leave the World Behind. Yeah, I just watched her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in a million things. She's still really hot. So, as in her career-wise, as a person, she's still hot.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
She's
interesting.
Yeah, she should be in Doctor Who Big Finish. It'd be great for her. Give her a boost.
Maybe play the Master. Play a female version of the Master. It'd be interesting. Our next release we've got is Doctor Who: The Third Doctor Adventures: Revolution in Space. The Doctor and Sarah find themselves in an asteroid on the outer reaches of Earth's solar system. It's the future, and humans have colonized this inhospitable place to mine vital minerals to supply their home planet. However, links with Earth are becoming ever more strained, and forces within the colony are seeking independence. Revolution is in the air. Meanwhile, in the deepest chamber of the asteroid, a powerful force is emerging. Its influence is growing rapidly, but how will it affect Sarah Jane Smith and her place in future history? It seems like a fun little sci-fi adventure.
Oh, from the looks of it, it's another 7-part story. So,
Oh,
7 parts.
so not so small after all.
And it's one of those cases where, the first Third Doctor season was 7 parts for each story. Maybe you don't need 7 parts for this box set. Maybe it only needs to be 90 minutes, I love the Third Doctor. I love his artwork on this cover. It looks great.
It's a nice cover. Yeah,
it
it's
sounds
a nice cover.
interesting enough, but I do not.
I think all the covers. I think all the covers this month are pretty good. They were shit for a while. They're fine this month.
I don't have the 207 minutes of time that is required to listen to this box set. So
No, you
sorry.
just don't love Doctor Who enough. You just aren't a big enough fan. You're just a fake fucking poser who's like, oh yeah, I like Doctor Who, and you only watch the TV show. And even then, you're looking at your phone.
Oh hell yeah! And speaking of the Third Doctor and Sarah Jane and the Brigadier, because the Brigadier's in this one, we have Doctor Who, Sontarans versus Rutans, the Children of the Future. This is I don't know how many parts this series has, but it's a monthly release with the Sontarans versus the Rutans to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Sontarans. And apparently the first story is decent enough. The war between the Sontarans and the Rutans have been going on for a millennia, and is likely to continue for a millennia more. A terrible conflict with no care for consequences or collateral damage. Billions have died with no end in sight. The Brigadier is used to the Doctor acting strangely, but this time there's something decidedly different about the whole affair. As he looks into the Time Lord's odd activities outside of UNIT, there's a mystery that will take Lethbridge Stewart to a site very familiar to Sarah Jane Smith. I hope it's the power plant. I hope it's just a Brigadier wandering around a power plant for like half an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really what needs to be. In silence as well. You just hear his footsteps.
Can the Brigadier trust his old friend? Who are his mysterious new allies? And is the future of humanity really at stake? A Sontaran threat could spell the end of their long-standing friendship and the entire planet. Brigadier Alistair Lethbridge Stewart, copyright Haseman and Lincoln, and used under license with thanks to Hannah Haseman and Candy Jar. Good old Candy Jar.
Candy Jar. Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. I guess that's all of the Big Finish releases coming out in the month of February as we head into that. And I don't really care about any of them, but that is our last news topic.
The only one I have slight interest in is the last one, because it's just a self-contained 60-minute storyline, baby. Like,
I'm not interested in any of them, honestly.
Fair enough.
But we now look our eyes to the future, as this is the beginning of the year for us here at Who Watches Who. Last year, I think, was a great success for the podcast. We went from very little views and very little subscribers to still very little views and very little subscribers, but significantly more than we were getting before. And every single number, every single one person listening to this means the world to us, and we thank you very much. If you were one of some of the like 100 people or so that we get that we listen weekly now, which is cool as fuck.
Especially you, Gary. Gary, you are my favorite listener. And I really hope
Gary,
some
you can
listener...
fuck off. Gary, if we meet, I'll fight you. I'll fight you.
I really hope there's a listener named Gary who's just freaking out right now. I'm watching you, Gary. I am watching
I'm looking
you.
for you. I'll find you. I'm gonna hurt you. But this year we've got some big stories coming up that we're going to be covering on the podcast. We are in the springtime going to be looking at the War Games story, which is an extremely long long story, as well as looking at the Torchwood Children of Earth. Is that the name of the series?
Yes.
Children of Earth? Yeah, we're going to be looking at Children of Earth with Torchwood as well later on in the year. But we will be starting off next week by looking at a Tom Baker era story with The City of Death. We will be looking at parts 1 and 2 of that next week, so be sure to subscribe here on the channel so you don't miss that when it goes live next Friday at 8 a.m. UK time, with parts 3 and 4 the week after that. It's a pretty fun story. We are in the middle of recording the second part of that right now, because we are a little bit ahead of schedule, because that's why we took January off, to try and make a dent in the thing, because we always record this last minute, and it's a fucking nightmare. So yeah, be sure to get that by subscribing to our YouTube page, or following us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Amazon Music, or there's an RSS feed. There's a heap of links in the description that will lead you to our things. We also have a Facebook page at Who Watches Who, and an x.com account at Watches Doctor.
Yeah.
We also probably will be on other social media at some point later in the year. We have Letterboxd accounts down below where you can follow us. If you follow us, I'll probably follow you back. I do that instinctively now on Letterboxd, where you can see movies and shit we're watching, because it's the one social media app I actually use.
And there's no toxic people in there, which is really fun.
Yeah. It's just people trying really hard to be funny.
Including me sometimes.
And sometimes they are, and sometimes they're not. But yeah, thank you very much for listening to this very informative episode of the news. There's been a lot of stuff. It's been a really tough time. We were having to bite our tongues all this month, because we were like, we can't do an episode because we're on break right now. We have to actually take breaks sometimes, it was really hard not to record this news episode earlier, but we are back, and the podcast shall resume every week from henceforth until New Year again, because that's how we roll. Year 3. This is year 3.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Isn't that exciting?
Oh my God!
Yeah,
it feels like just yesterday
Isn't
we
that...
started.
Yeah, isn't that? And we've still fucking hardly touched Doctor Who. Still hardly touched.
Yeah,
it.
we're not even 10% into it. It's insane.
Yeah, it is wild.
Oh, dear.
But thank you very much for listening, and we will see you next week with a significantly longer episode. Bye.
Bye.